Welcome back, everyone, to the VHS Vault. If this is your first time watching, happy to have you on board. I am one of your hosts, VHS Jace, but the super talented man next to me is Jason Roy Gaston. How are you, sir?
I could not be any better because we're discussing one of my favorite 80s. I don't want to call it a hit because it was not a hit, but it is a cult hit. One of my favorite 80s cult hits of all time.
And it is. And if you hadn't seen by the thumbnail, we're talking the Monster Squad. Jace, I'm just going to throw it out there before we get into it. Damn, I had a lot of fun watching this again. I really did.
It's not just the most fun you've ever had in a movie. I just love it.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
it
it's just great.
It's a lot of fun. It just works on so many great levels, you know. I think if I was 10 and seen this, it would be the greatest movie of all time. So
I was 10 when I saw this, so it was the greatest movie of all time. And
well,
I don't know if you know anything about the genesis of this movie.
Well, before we do that, we're going to be talking behind the scenes.
I'm jumping the gun. I'm sorry.
Jumping the gun.
Those really cool bumpers. So the genesis of this movie was that it was originally going to be a Little Rascals reboot. And not only was it going to be a Little Rascals reboot, it was going to be Little Rascals Meet the Universal Monsters. And from there, this idea kind of grew, and they realized, you know what, this is going to be too expensive. The rights are going to be nuts. We need to come up with a different plan. And so they just rewrote it with some contemporary, at the time, kids. And it became the movie that we all know and love today. A couple of other interesting things about this. Count Dracula is played by Duncan Regier, I believe is the way you pronounce his name. And we just discussed him just last week over on our sister station, the Captain's Quadrant, because he's the ghost that Beverly Crusher bangs.
Yes, he's rather
Dr. Ghost Bugger. Yeah. But yeah, I was just like, oh, it's that guy.
Yeah. Hey, written by Shane Black. Let's not forget to, if you weren't aware of that, Shane Black. Is Shane Black at his absolute prime in the 80s. This is off the back of writing multiple films in that time, and he was at the top of his game. And it's wonderful this is the direction he chose to go in writing it. But it was also directed by Fred Decker, who had a lot to do with this film. But wow, it was really... Yeah.
There is a fascinating documentary. I think it's on Amazon Prime right now. It could be on other channels too. It's called Wolfman's Got Nards. And it's all about the production of this movie. And if you love this movie, go check it out, because it's got interviews with the cast members. It lets you know what happened to the kids. Like the little kid that played Eugene, the cute little kid who played Eugene, that is David Faustino's brother. You know, from Married with Children. Yeah.
There's lots of, when we get into the cast of characters, there's lots of little great character actors, child actors in this that kind of go forward.
Just but before amazing child actors,
Yeah, but before we get there, let's just talk about our memories of the film itself. Now, never saw it at the cinema. Wasn't even aware. Don't even know if it got a theatrical release here in Australia. However, it was a VHS get. And, wow, couldn't you not be hooked? Like, it's back in those days, if I loved a film, rewind the tape, play it again straight away. And this definitely got that for sure. I think I was a couple of years older. I wish I was a couple of years younger seeing this, because I thought if I was 10, this would have, in my head, been the greatest film of all time. Because I feel like it's made for that demographic, your 9 to 12-year-old boys. I think it's just, written so well. You know, well, not really written so well, because we'll get into that, but it's just such a great concept to do that. And very 80s, right? Like, it's very 80s. Yeah. But what were your memories, Jace, before I keep rattling on?
My memories is, like most movies, I caught this on cable pay channels like HBO or Showtime. I had never heard of it before, watched it, loved it. Every time it came on, I watched it. Eventually, we got a VCR and I recorded it so I could watch it at any time. I was in love with this movie back then. I'm still in love with this movie, warts and all, because it's got some pretty problematic parts in it that back then I didn't really think too much about. But now I'm just kind of like, ooh, this is a bit pervy in some places.
Yeah.
And it's also got... Well, there's just some story beats that even back whenever I first watched this, I was kind of like in awe of just the body count in this movie is through the roof. And
Well,
especially
mate,
at the end, when the hell portal is like sucking all the monsters in, how many cops get sucked in too, and nobody ever says anything? This is a small town, and they just lost like 3/4 of their police department. All the cops went to hell.
well, I
Yeah,
think what you've done is you're getting
okay.
into the plot,
Getting
and
into the plot. I suck
yeah,
at this.
that's the plot of this is really kind of great. Yeah, it starts off where we're setting what 1300 a year wherever.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
I love that opening crawl so much. Just those last 3 words.
yes,
They
yeah, and they
blew it.
blew it. They blew it. Fantastic. Also, really smart because you set the tone for the film. Those 3 words let you know what type of film you're in for. And it's
Yes.
beautifully done, and a great opening scene, a very serious kind of opening scene, very tense. That poor young girl. Even I was like, just read the bloody thing, will you? You kept pausing all the time. She's read it. But it was
He's
really
like
great.
screaming her, read it or we're all gonna die! She's like, oh no. I'm just a poor virgin, you got out of the city. I've never known the touch of a man.
That
Oh
poor
no, I'm
girl,
going
though.
to hell. No.
I did feel for that poor girl, though. I mean, she's an innocent young thing, and she's peeking out. Look how much she's sweating, that poor thing.
I know. My
Under a lot of
gosh.
pressure.
By the end of the movie, there's like 20 cops and a virgin in hell.
Yeah.
And it's all these kids' fault.
Let's talk about the kids, because this is one of the great strengths of this movie, is who they cast. I mean, these 2 young lads here. And now you already mentioned that the one on the left, I believe, is David Faustino's brother, correct?
Oh, no.
No, that's not Eugene. That's not Eugene.
Yeah.
Sorry, my
That's
apologies.
Patrick and Sean, played by Robbie Kiger and Andre Gower. Both of them
One
fantastic.
of them, the one on the left, he's been in a lot of things. I saw him as more older teen actor and things as well. I just can't remember what. But I'd seen that kid around.
I couldn't begin to tell you. I enjoyed these 2 because they reminded me of myself and my best friend growing up.
Yeah.
Because we were both little pricks. We were both always saying mean things to each other and mean things about other people, just completely unthinking. And I think that's why I kind of forgive some of the awful things that they say, like the homophobic slurs and everything, because honestly, that's how kids in the 80s talked.
10-year-olds in the 80s were little perverts, a little offensive, mean, selfish. That's just, this is what happens when parents kick you out of the house at 9 o'clock in the morning and tell you not to come home until the lights are on.
Don't come home till the street lights are on, dear.
Exactly. We get up to mischief.
If a stranger offers you candy, take it, because you may never get that opportunity again.
You know what else I really kind of like? And it's this character. It's the idea of introducing this character to the monster, Scott, and we'll get to Horace in a minute. But,
Rudy.
He's like, my bodyguard kind of character. Like, he's the tough kid. He's and they don't spend a lot of time of why he's hanging out with him. He's just likes them and hanging out with them. And I really like that. Horace rocks.
And he smokes, and he's like 12. I'm just like, this was made for kids. I also appreciate how this kid has like the worst lines in the entire movie. He has all the one-liners, and they're just awful. And you can see him die on the inside every time he says one. Like, catch you later, Band-Aid breath. And you just see him age, like wrinkles appear on his face.
Who wrote this?
This was Ryan Lambert, by the way, still acting today.
Is he? I have seen that face around quite a lot. But I'm going to say, I'm trying to find a picture of. Do I have a picture of Horace yet? If I don't have a picture of Horace, I've really let myself.
Yes. Brent Callum. Brent Callum, who has 2 of the most amazing lines in the movie. You want to talk about? This poor young man left this earth way too soon. Passed away at the age of 22 in 1997. No. He died of pneumonia. Yeah, the young woman who played Phoebe. The young woman who played Phoebe. Her name is Ashley Bank. but she goes on and on and on about what a gentle, wonderful soul Brent Calum was.
Oh, that's really
And
sad to hear
it
that.
is one of the saddest things. Yeah.
Oh, that is
He was studying
absolutely
to
awful.
be a lawyer too. So he was a legal assistant, and life is not
Oh,
fair. Life is not fair. That's all I can
no,
say.
it's not
But
sometimes.
he
It's
has,
definitely not
and
fair.
it is not fair because he honestly has the best lines in the entire movie. I mean, he has
Well, let's
Wolfman's
face
got
it, there's
yeah,
yes.
Wolfman's got nards is that has basically made Brent Calum immortal.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be quoting Wolfman had nards for years, and of course, my name is Horace. Chunk chunk. Love that. I love that so much.
Can I just say though that it's it's so Shane Black, right? That is the Shane
Yes.
Black moment for me. Is my name is Horace. It's just so
Yeah. The music.
perfectly
Da da
done.
da.
Actually, I think he's in this end shot, which I was going to say. There he is,
He
Horace. You
probably
can see
is.
him
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
Okay.
he is there. Either way, great cast of young people. Really got that
Mhm.
right. If you also
Absolutely.
didn't notice there, Robert Zemeckis' wife playing the mum, or ex-wife.
Oh, yes.
Unfortunately, she passed away as well. But yeah, like it's a great cast, and all the other character actors that they've got, like the guy that plays the Wolfman. I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. The guy that plays the dad, always seen him in a bunch of stuff. So they actually populated this with a lot of talent, which is really cool, I thought. So
Yes, they did.
definitely a good cast. Now, we'll talk about the monsters as a cast, all right? Let's get into the monsters, because I do have an issue with one of the monsters. Let's start from the left, all right? He's referred to as Gillman.
Because they couldn't use Black Lagoon.
They couldn't use
It
Black
was
Lagoon.
copyrighted, so they couldn't use that. Yeah.
But the costume design is for him
It's
is my favorite.
fantastic. Yeah.
It's brilliant. It holds up to today's standards easily.
Yes.
And even in light, because there's a moment right at the end where he's like basically all lit up because of the street lights. It looks amazing. It's like
Yes,
you
it
can't see
does.
the flaws. Dracula is excellent because you got to remember in that time that's very much the stereotypical imagery of Dracula. So I thought that costume was perfect.
And as much
Tom
as we
Noonan.
dunked on Duncan Regier for that Star Trek
Yeah.
episode, he was a darn good Dracula in this movie. Darn
He
good.
was really good, really good. He makes up for that horrible perverted role he played in that episode. Tom Noonan, I don't know if you know that actor. He's a very talented character actor. Does an excellent job of playing Frankenstein, who is just a standout character for me. It's just every time he's on screen with the kids, it's just you're smiling from ear to ear. It's wonderful.
It's the ET moments.
It's
the kids bonding
the
with
walking along
something
the road,
unholy and otherworldly that could kill them in
Yeah,
a second with just a thought. I don't know.
The mummy design, really scary, right? What a great looking mummy.
Yes,
but the
amazing looking mummy.
Wolfman. It's the Wolfman I have a little bit of an issue with.
Now, what's wrong with the Wolfman?
At times he looks great, but it's the Batman cow from '89 not being able to move the neck routine bothers me. Yeah. That was the thing that bothered me the most.
Okay, I can see that. I thought otherwise it was really good looking because they were trying to do something different. And
I love the character though. Yeah, what a great introduction to him though.
Oh yeah,
Pop's doing his job. Lock me up. I'm gonna turn into a werewolf.
I absolutely loved that whole concept that the human side of the Wolfman was basically just trying to warn them the whole time, and that phone call that he makes towards the before the climax where he's transforming in the booth and he's gonna kill your son. I'm like, you could have opened with that, dude.
Yeah,
you should have started with that.
Yeah, but that was one of the scariest moments in the film.
Loved that.
I reckon that scared me actually. That moment,
mm-hmm.
I loved him seeing him in transformation. It was really, really good. But yeah, I mean, that was my only criticism is, the makeup restrictions of the time. Should have mentioned this in behind the scenes. Robert Englund did the special effects, and he's a legend in the industry. That's why everything looks so great in this.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, Gilman. Oh my God, look at that. That's the shot I was talking
looks
about.
Amazing. Yeah,
look how well lit up he is, and like everything's perfect. Like I hope someone owns that. and is sitting in a
Oh,
museum somewhere.
I actually, it's setting in a workshop somewhere because I remember seeing that. I don't remember if
Oh,
it's in
great.
Wolfman's Got Nards or somewhere. I could put that picture back up for a second.
Yeah. Where
Um,
was it? Here we go.
so
Yeah,
I could
gentlemen.
just see Mr. Black. I got the costume on. What do I need to do if I go to the bathroom? Well, we never considered that. Don't.
Don't. But you know, there's
Don't.
a shot where they kind of have the front shot and the camera moves and you see the tail and everything.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
was so impressed because I'm going like, where's the seam? Where's this? How did he get this freaking thing on? Like,
I'm sure there's got to be some kind of hidden
I
seam
think
in
the
there
tail would
somewhere.
come up.
Either
or
that or they
something.
just sealed him in it and they just let him die a natural death.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now we're gonna come and come to the plot. The plot's kind of silly and ridiculous. I can't think you really
Incredibly
spent a lot
so,
of
yes.
time, but it's not the point of this film, and it's very, because you're right in the beginning when you said it was going to be a Little Rascals film, because of course, I mean they were trying to replicate Abbott Costello meets Frankenstein,
Yes.
and that's really what this is a homage to in many ways, but there are some great moments. It's ridiculous.
It
Pulling
is.
Frankenstein out of it. It's ridiculous that his pole turns into an electrical pole, which he happens to have two leads, and he can connect to the side of Frankenstein's head.
Well,
It's
he's got to
ridiculous,
jumpstart him somehow.
and that's what I mean. It's ridiculous, but it works. It works, Jace. It's great.
Does. Dracula's he's been planning this for a century. He knows what's up.
But really, Jason, I think we're missing out the main star of this film, and I've held her back because she, every time is on screen, absolutely steals this film for me, and that's the little sister, man.
Oh, little Phoebe. Oh my gosh. Phoebe played by
is the
Ashley
best.
Bank.
Yeah.
She
Wonderful. Wonderful
owned this
performance.
movie. She just stole it from everyone, and she's still working even today. As of
Is she really?
2023, she is still working. Yes. So
Go away, Phoebe the
yeah,
dweeby.
Yeah.
I love that moment.
Come on, you guys. Come on, you guys. He's friendly. Don't be chicken shit. I love that so much.
Oh my god,
I'm sorry,
I cracked up.
There's nothing funnier than watching children curse. I really, it may be a wrong opinion for me to say. There may be mothers out there clutching pearls.
Yeah.
Going, how could you? It's funny. I'm sorry. I can't help that it's funny. It just is.
And it's it's earned in this film. It's definitely earned because she is just so great. But yeah, that's the master stroke is in casting in this film because they just cast everyone so well. Look, the fact that they run a monster, the whole turn of them just trying to come up with a club, then they've come up with a club, and then because he starts to decode that word into Dracula, and he hears a couple of things, the whole idea is that's enough reason to go hunting for monsters. I'm like, dude, you don't have enough evidence yet.
That is the one scene in the movie that I just look at and I roll my eyes because what possessed him to walk into the kitchen, see a name on there, and write it down as, I wonder what I could do by rearranging the letters. Dracula! Who would have thought that Alucard was Dracula? Guys, there's monsters everywhere! Yeah, it'd be
it's silly.
We need to form a different club. We need to go to the YMCA or something. I don't know. This kid's crazy.
In defense of this film, I would say it soaks in its weaknesses in a really good way. It knows what it is. It knows it's silly and stupid. I mean, we get a montage, literally. They decide they're going to fight these monsters with little to no evidence. And then we get this great little silly montage where they're making weapons at school.
Shopping till you drop, dancing till your feet fall off.
So 80s. Love it.
I love the way that Rudy takes stakes that are already sharpened and goes to sharpen them again.
Yeah.
It's no wonder he's flunking shop.
Yeah.
And incidentally, what is a junior high or high school metal shop doing with bullet casings?
Yeah. And where's the teacher?
Exactly. Never once. Rudy, what are you working? I mean, at one point, Rudy shows like a birdhouse, like, look what I'm making. Going back to creating the weapons. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
But then again, this is a movie about a dude who turns into a wolf and a never aging monster who sucks blood from virgins.
Yeah,
I can suspend disbelief. This is a fantasy. It's just a
yeah.
fun fantasy, and I love it.
The sheer odds of all these monsters, if they were real, being in the same location at the same time, is in a small town.
Dracula was planning it.
Yeah,
Drop the coffin here. We will all meet here. Wolfman, you come by plane. Mummy, you come by Uber. And Gilman, you just swim. You swim. That's all you do. I don't know. Swim to sewer, perhaps. I don't care. I will come in a limo with a skull on the hood because I am subtle.
So yeah, that was our cast. Even I forgot to run the show properly. That was our cast and crew, right? But let's get into now the takeaway. And the takeaway is where we're going to be talking about some of our favourite bits and what we thought of the end of it. Man, blowing up, sticking the dynamite down Wolfman's pants. Oh my gosh! And seeing him explode was awesome. And
the following up in 4 different directions.
And the fact they don't hold back with there's not much gore in this, but that's gory when we're doing the shot where Wolfman is in pieces. And that was something new that I'd forgotten about, that their version of where, like, you can't kill him. He's indestructible. He'll put himself back
unless
together.
You got the silver bullets,
Unless you got the silver bullets, of course, which I really loved. Did you not love, sorry, I got to mention this, the mummy death?
I did. I loved it, and I even loved the stupid one-liner that Rudy gives afterwards. It's like this, like you said, this is a movie that knew what it was, and it was goofy and corny, and it embraced it. And I love that. My roommate was walking through whenever I was watching this movie, and he was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool how he's unraveling like that." It's like, yeah, that's really neat.
It's good. It's good. I mean, you got a big suspension of disbelief because, you know, I mean, with that kind of speed going, it just would have snapped. But who cares? Because it's awesome, and I love the shot of the skull at the end, just on the road. Is magic. And yeah, and I'd forgotten about they actually knock off a few of them before the end.
They do. They basically kill all of them except for Dracula. Dracula is the only one who's still alive.
Well,
and Frankenstein.
Well, kind of still alive because he's got the stake in him until the old dude picks up and gives the guy the thumbs up.
How does Van Helsing know this? Yeah. How does Van Helsing? You know,
he could have been giving the kid the finger. We don't know. We don't know. That's it. Either way, but just really great. But you know what? I'm watching it, Jason. I know we've currently been doing Evil Dead. But in my mind, I'm going, that's the Evil Dead portal. I wonder if in my own head canon, these movies are associated now, just because it looks like the same portal.
Link is confirmed. I agree.
Yeah.
I think that Dracula and Van Helsing ended up in the Middle Ages and were immediately shot in the face by Ash. Take that, you deadite scum.
That's it.
Groovy.
But I mentioned this to you in the chat, and it's something I just not only loved about this film, but I love an 80 movie generally. No fluff. Mate, we kill the monsters. He gets to say a cheesy one-liner to an army. Mind you, Eugene's no. Send army guys. There are monsters here. Eugene.
Yeah. Okay, where are the monsters? This is kid wish fulfillment fantasy. That's all this is, and I love it.
But they do the joke, mate, and then credits roll.
Yeah,
we're out of there.
We live in a town where 80% of the police force is now in hell. Yay!
Roll credits.
Incidentally, somebody needs to give scary German guy a ride home. His car's gone.
Can I just say I love that actor? He's been in many, many things, and he knew the film he was in and played it perfectly. Wonderful.
I have to say, it's like the most unexpectedly somber part whenever he's telling the kids goodbye, and they, "Well, you sure do know a lot about monsters." "Yes, I suppose I do." And he closes the door, and you see that concentration tattoo on a concentration camp tattoo on his forearm. I didn't understand it whenever I was a kid. I was like, "Well, what's that?" And I looked it up, and I thought, "Oh dear God, why? Yeah. Why is this in the movie? Why not?"
Well, I'm glad they have.
Yeah,
I'm glad
because it was great.
Yeah, I think it was great. I thought it had a lot of depth to that character without leaning on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was,
you know
what
I mean? You know?
Here's where he's coming from. Here's why he's trying to help. Okay, moving on.
Exactly. And what it does, it tells the audience that, no, he's a good guy. Of course he's a good guy. You know, he's a survivor. And so yeah. Nah, like 83 minutes this movie went for, dude, and it flies by.
It
And
does.
my takeaway is, why in the hell didn't we get a sequel? That's my takeaway from this.
Because this movie bombed. This movie bombed at the box office, unfortunately. They gave us this. They gave us this classic. They gave us this classic, and no one went to go see it. And we don't deserve it.
$14 million they had a budget of. Box office gate was 3.8. That is a disaster on any scale.
I'm certain they've probably made that money back by now on VHS.
They never put in VHS sales. Yeah, they never put that there. And they would have made a lot of money, because if you guys who are old enough to remember like me, there was a time where we couldn't actually buy videotapes like retail. Like you couldn't go in and just pick up Batman off the shelf. In fact, Batman was the first one to do, affordable take-home video cassettes. Before then, videotapes cost around $120 a piece, because you'd have to buy the same versions that they would rent out at the video store. So, this movie would have made a ton of money, because I think it caught on. I remember in my video shop, there only being one copy of this, and coming back a couple of weeks later, and there's 4 copies of it. You know what I mean? I think this is one of those movies that caught on wildly. And one of those movies that would have been super hard to rent, because it'll always be out. Someone's always got it.
Oh, yeah.
So, that was my takeaway.
Yeah, it's a classic. That's it. It's classic 80s cheese, warts and all. I love it. You'll love it. It holds up extraordinarily well. If you watched it as a kid and you're afraid of watching it again because you're just afraid that the memories are just rose-colored, it's still a great movie.
If I could make this comparison, it's like you never having Big Macs. You ate Big Macs and you went, this garbage. That's terrible. 10 years, 20 years later, you have a Big Mac again and you go, God damn, that was tasty. Yep. It was good. It's not good for me. It's not perfect, but damn, it's good. And this is what the Monster Squad is. Don't reboot this. Leave this as it is. This is a work of art. Don't do it. But it is very much one of the early multiverse films in a way, isn't it? Because it is.
Yeah, kind of.
It's kind of bringing all your heroes into kind of together. And, And it's also... It was probably one of the last moments where we got the traditional look of these monsters before we started getting Gary Oldman Dracula or Robert De Niro Frankenstein, or you know what I mean? We got the traditional looking monsters, and I love that. So
yes,
bloody brilliant, mate. Bloody brilliant. Now we are not done with the portal, Jace. So we're not done. That would have been a good kind of entry out of the show, but we've got to talk about, we're not done with the portal. We're diving back into the portal next week, and we're landing in the year 1300 as we talk about Army of Darkness.
Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Love it. Look, I've got to watch it again, but my memories are nothing but adoration and love for this film. But who knows? Who knows if it still holds up?
I love it. It's chaos, and I love it.
I was telling my wife, hey, we're going to watch this coming up for next week. And she goes, I can't watch that. I said, why? She goes, those little versions of him just terrify me. I'm like, what? It's the funniest scene in the movie.
That is so great.
There you go. But there you go, guys. We'll be back next week on the VHS Vault on the Jason Roy Gaston channel. Please remember, if you want to be part of the show, and we so want you to be part of the show, sign up to be a Patreon member on the Jason Roy Gaston Patreon page, because you'll be able to choose a movie exclusively, won't they, Jason? What else can they get from the Jason Roy Gaston channel?
You will get exclusive content from me. You're the ability to message me, feet pics every now and again when I'm feeling salty, and I don't know, just all kinds of weird and strange things that I bestow upon you, like God is bestowing mana onto the chosen people. And you can get it all for $5 a month. You can't get anything for $5 a month anymore, but you can get me.
And for $5, you get to control us, because you'll be telling us what we watch next.
Yes.
We won't be in control.
As a matter of fact, after Army of Darkness, our next one is a Patreon pick. So, yeah.
We'll release that one next week. We'll let you know what that one's going to be next week. Very cool. All right, guys. Thanks for watching the VHS Vault. As always, I have been VHS Jace. That has been the great not VHS. He's not Jace. VHS Grace, not Jace. I'm really stuffing that up now. Jason Roy Gaston. The great Jason Roy Gaston. I forgot to take my meds. What can I say?
You're better without
I need
them.
more meds.
Shop until you
Really
drop.
stuff that up.
Dance until your feet fall off.
That's so sad about Horace, man. That
Yeah,
is so
yeah.
sad.